Hello everybody, I'm Jacob, and today we are going to be reading Leviticus 1 through 7. Let me just get to the page here, guys. The burnt offering. The Lord called to Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting. He said, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when any of you brings an offering to the Lord, bring as your offering an animal from either the herd or the flock. If the offering is a burnt offering from the herd, he is to offer a male without defect. He must present it at the entrance to the tent of meeting, so that it will be acceptable to the Lord. He is to lay his hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it will be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him." Can you guys still hear me? He is to slaughter the young bull before the Lord, and then Aaron's sons, the priests, shall bring the blood and sprinkle it against the altar on all sides at the entrance of the tent of meeting. He is to skin the burnt offering and cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priests, are to put fire on the altar and arrange wood on the fire. Then Aaron's sons, the priests, shall arrange the pieces, including the head and the fat, on the burnt offering that is on the altar. He is to wash the inner parts and the legs with water, and the priest is to burn all of it on the altar. It is a burnt offering, and the Lord made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. If the offering is a burnt offering from the flock, from either the sheep or the goats, he is to offer a male without defect. He is to slaughter it at the north side of the altar before the Lord. And Aaron's sons, the priests, shall sprinkle its blood against the altar on all sides. He is to cut it into pieces, and priests shall arrange them, including the head and the fat, on the burning wood that is on the altar. He is to wash the inner parts and the legs with water, and the priest is to bring all of it and burn it on the altar. It is a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. If the offering to the Lord is a burnt offering of bird, he is to offer a dove or a young pigeon. The priest shall bring it to the altar, wring out the head, and bring it on the altar. Its blood shall be drained out on the side of the altar. He is to remove the crop with its contents, and throw it to the east side of the altar, where the ashes are. He shall tear it open by the wings, not severing it completely, and then the priest shall burn it on the wood that is on the fire on the altar. It is a burnt offering, and the Lord made by fire. It is a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. I'd like to apologize if my readings are a little slower. I was at this Bible meeting, or I wasn't there. My friend told me about it. He told me, the books of the Bible are some are hard to read, but I didn't realize, some of them are way harder to read. He told me that Leviticus, hardest, or I don't know if it's the hardest one, but one of the hardest, mastery level, mastery degree in college. Then Mark is a 7th grader reading level, so, Mark is going to go fast. Where is Mark? Reading Mark, and I'll find it at some point. Anyway, sorry if I'm a little slower, guys. Just bear with me. This might be a long reading, and I'm going to take this off because it's hot. And I kind of want to take the hoodie off, but we'll wait. Leviticus 2, the grain offering. When someone brings a grain offering to the Lord, his offering is to be of fine flour. He is to pour oil on it, put incense on it, and take it to Aaron's sons, the priests. The priest shall take a handful of fine flour and oil, together with all the incense, and burn this as a memorial portion on the altar, an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering belongs to Aaron and his sons. It is a most holy part of the offerings made to the Lord by fire. If you bring a grain offering baked in an oven, it is to consist of fine flour, cakes made without yeast, and mixed with oil, or wafers made without yeast, and spread with oil. If your grain offering is prepared on a griddle, it is to be made of fine flour mixed with oil, without yeast. Crumble it and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your grain offering is cooked in a pan, it is to be made of fine flour and oil. Bring the grain offering made of these things to the Lord. Present it to the priest, who shall take it to the altar. He shall take out the memorial portion from the grain offering and burn it on the altar as an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. The rest of the grain offerings belong to Aaron and his sons. It is a most holy part of the offerings made to the Lord by fire. Every grain offering you bring to the Lord must be made without yeast. For you are not to burn any yeast or honey in an offering made to the Lord by fire. You may bring them to the Lord as an offering of the first fruits. They are not to be offered on the altar as a pleasing aroma. Season all your grain offerings with salt. Do not leave the salt of the covenant of your God out of your grain offerings. Add salt to all your offerings. If you bring a grain offering of first fruits to the Lord, offer crushed heads of new grain roasted in the fire. Put oil and incense on it. It is a grain offering. The priest shall burn the memorial portion, or the crushed grain, in the oil together with all the incense as an offering made to the Lord by fire. Leviticus 3. The fellowship offering. Someone offering is a fellowship of offering. If someone's offering is a fellowship offering, and he offers an animal from the herd, whether male or female, he is to present before the Lord an animal without defect. He is to lay his hand on the head of his offering, and slaughter it at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Then Aaron's sons, the priest, shall sprinkle the blood against the altar on all sides. From fellowship offering, he is to bring a sacrifice made to the Lord by fire. All the fat that covers the inner parts, or is connected to them, both kidneys with the fat on them, near the loins, and covering of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. Then Aaron's sons are to burn it on the altar on top of the burnt offering that is on the burning wood, as an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. If he offers an animal from the flock as a fellowship offering to the Lord, he is to offer a male or female without defect. If he offers a lamb, he is to present it before the Lord. He is to lay its head on the head. He is to lay his hand on the head of his offering and slaughter it in front of the tent of meeting. Then Aaron's son shall sprinkle its blood against the altar on all sides. From the fellowship offering, he is to bring a sacrifice made to the Lord by fire. Its fat, the entire fat tail, cut off close to the backbone. All the fats that cover the inner parts, or is connected to them, both kidneys with the fat on them, near the loins, and the covering of the liver, which will remain with the kidneys. The priest shall burn them on an altar as food, an offering made to the Lord by fire. If his offering is a goat, he is to present it before the Lord. He is to lay his hand on its head and slaughter it in front of the tent of meeting. Then Aaron's sons shall sprinkle its blood against the altar on all sides. From what he offers, he is to make his offerings to the Lord by fire. All the fat that covers the inner parts, or is connected to them, both kidneys with fat on them near the loins, and the covering of the liver, which he will burn with the kidneys. The priest shall burn on the altar as food, an offering made by fire, a pleasing aroma. All the fat is the Lord's. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. Whether you live, you must not eat any fat or any blood. These type of books like Exodus and Leviticus so far, I mean, I haven't ever read all of Leviticus, so I don't know, but it's like all instructions, and it's really hard to read for me, because like, it's not like storytelling, like feels like I kind of lose interest, which I hate to say, obviously, but it's like it's giving us instructions on how to do offerings, which I don't even know if we're supposed to do anymore. I'd have to Google that, but it's like it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot, especially with Exodus before. So far, this is like more interesting, which is rude to say, but like this is about offerings and how to do them. So far, when they were talking about making like the tabernacle and like the thing with the different colors of yarn, it was like really difficult to understand, and I hope you guys can understand that, obviously. And I obviously don't want to skip any. That's just doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to skip any chapters of the Bible. Hopefully no words are skipped. I might like stumble over some, but I'm probably going to read every word. I mean, I'll probably skip one, just bad eyesight or something. Thank you guys for watching my video so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm proud of you guys if you read the Bible. Proud of myself so far. I'm hoping I can stick with it. A big sin for me, I'm going off track, like, obviously all of them are pretty difficult, like the 7 ones, but I'd say like laziness. Okay, laziness, I might have to cut that out. Embarrassing. Laziness is like, it's so difficult for me, because it's like, you could just sit on the couch, like chill, like, playing the game, or like watching the game. What time is it? 3? But or you could do this. You could read the Bible. You could say it out loud, which, I mean, reading this is hard. Like, in your head, it's hard too. And I'm gonna be honest, that is why I read it out loud, so I can't skip any words, because I can't even trust myself, honestly. Like, I'll be reading it, and I'll be like skipping every other word. Like, in a book like this, in Genesis, no. But like in this, like, I would probably skip so many words if I was reading this in my head, just because like I can't hold myself accountable for it. But this is a great way. I suggest everyone try this. Reading out loud, I think, like, really helps. I'm gonna be honest, it helps me so much too. So anyway, let me get back to the screen. Sorry for yapping there. This is Yappuccino. Okay. Leviticus 4, the sin offering. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, when anyone sins unintentionally and does what is forbidden in any of the Lord's commands, if the anointed priest sins, bringing guilt on the people, he must bring to the Lord a young bull without defect as a sin offering for the sin he has committed. He is to present the..." I gotta turn my notifications off, honestly, whenever I'm doing this. Or like on D&D. He is to present the bull at the entrance to the tent of meeting before the Lord. He is to lay his hand on its head and slaughter it before the Lord. Then the anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood and carry it into the tent of meeting. He is to dip his finger into the blood and sprinkle some of it 7 times before the Lord in front of the curtain of the sanctuary. The priest shall then put some of the blood on the horns and on the altar of fragrance incense that is before the Lord in the tent of meeting. The rest of the bull's blood shall pour out at the entrance to the tent of meeting. He shall remove all the fat from the bull of the sin offering, the fat that covers the inner parts or is connected to them. Both kidneys with the fat on them near the loins, and covering of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. Just as the fat is removed with the ox sacrificed as a fellowship offering, the priest shall burn them on the altar of burnt offering, but the hide of the bull and its flesh, as well as the heads and legs and inner parts, and offal, that is, all the rest of the bull, he must take outside the camp to a place ceremonially clean. When the ashes are thrown and burn in a wood fire on the ash heap. If the whole Israelite community sins unintentionally and does what is forbidden in any of the Lord's commands, even though the community is unaware of the matter, they are guilty. When they become aware of the sin they committed, the assembly, must bring a young bull as a sin offering and present it before the tent of meeting. The elders of the community are to lay their hands on the bull's head before the Lord, and the bull shall be slaughtered before the Lord. Then the anointed priest is to take some of the bull's blood into the tent of meeting. He shall dip his finger into the blood and sprinkle it before the Lord 7 times in front of the curtain. He is to put some of the blood on the horns of the altar that is before the Lord in the tent of meeting. The rest of the blood he shall pour out at the base of the altar of burnt offering at the entrance of the tent of meeting. He shall remove all the fat from it and burn it on the altar, and do with the bull, just as he did with the bull for the sin of offering. In the way the priest will make atonement for them, and they will be forgiven. Then he shall take the bull outside the camp and burn it as he burned the first bull. That is the sin. This is a sin offering for the community. When a leader sins unintentionally and does what is forbidden in any of the commands of the Lord his God, he is guilty. When he is made aware of the sin he has committed, he must bring as the offerings a male goat without defect. He is to lay his hand on the goat's head and slaughter it at the place before the burnt offering is slaughtered before the Lord. It is a sin offering. Then the priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and pour out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. He shall burn all the fat on the altar, as he burned the fat of the fellowship offering. In the way, the priest will make atonement for the man's sin, and he will be forgiven. If a member of the community sins unintentionally and does what is forbidden in any of the Lord's commands, he is guilty. When he is made aware of the sins he has committed, he must bring all his offerings for the sin he has committed, a female goat without defect. He is to lay his hand on the head of the sin offering and slaughter it at the place of the burnt offering. Then the priest takes some of the blood with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and pour out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. He should remove all the fat just as the fat is removed from the fellowship offering, and the priest shall burn it on the altar as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. In this way the priest will make atonement for him, and he will be forgiven. If he brings a lamb as his sin offering, he is to bring a female without defect. He is to lay his hand on its head and slaughter it for a sin offering at the place where the burnt offering is slaughtered. Then the priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and pour out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. He shall remove all the fat, just as fat is removed from the lamb of the fellowship offering, and the priest shall burn on the altar on top of the offering made to the Lord by fire. In this way the priest will make atonement for him for the sin he has committed, and he will be forgiven. Leviticus 5. If a person sins because he does not speak up when he hears a public charge to testify regarding something he has seen or learned about, he will be held responsible. Take a drink of this real quick. Let's see. Man. so many offerings, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Or if a person touches anything ceremonially unclean, where the carcasses of the unclean wild animals, or of unclean livestock, or of unclean creatures that move along the ground, even though he is unaware of it, he has become unclean and is guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanliness, or uncleanness, anything that would make him unclean, even though he is unaware of it, when he learns of it, he will be guilty. Or if a person thoughtlessly takes an oath to do anything, whether good or evil, in any matter one might carelessly swear about, even though he is unaware of it, in any case, when he learns of it, he will be guilty. When anyone is guilty in any of these ways, he must confess in the way he has sinned, and as a penalty for the sin he has committed, he must bring to the Lord a female lamb or goat from the flock as a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin. If he cannot afford a lamb, he is to bring 2 doves or 2 pigeons to the Lord as a penalty for his sin, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. He is to bring one for the sin offering. He is to wring its head from its neck, not severing it completely. He is to sprinkle some of the blood on the sin offering against the side of the altar. The rest of the blood must be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. The priest shall then offer the other as a burnt offering to the prescribed way, and make atonement for him for the sin he has committed, and he will be forgiven. If, however, he cannot afford 2 doves or 2 pigeons, he is to bring an offering for his sin, 1/10 of an ephah, or fine flour for a sin offering. He must not pour oil or incense on it, because it is a sin offering. He is to bring it to the priest, who shall take a handful of it as a memorial portion, and bring it on the altar on top of the offerings made to the Lord by fire. It is a sin offering. In this way, the priest will make atonement for him for any of these sins he has committed, and he will be forgiven. The rest of the offering will belong to the priest, as in the case of the grain offering. The guilt offering. The Lord said to Moses, when a person commits a violation of sin unintentionally in regard to any of the Lord's holy things, he was to bring the Lord as a penalty a ram from the flock, one without defect and of the proper value in silver, according to the sanctuary shekel. It is a guilt offering. He must make restitution for what he has failed to do in regard to holy things, and 1/5 of the value of that, and give it all to the priest, who will make atonement for him with the ram as a guilt offering, and he will be forgiven. If a person sins and does what is forbidden, though he does not know it, he is guilty and will be held responsible. He is to bring to the priest as a guilt offering a ram from the flock, one without defect and of proper value. And the way the Lord will make atonement for him for the wrong he has committed unintentionally, he will be forgiven. It is a guilt offering. He has been guilty of wrongdoing against the Lord. Ooh. I kind of stayed up late last night at my friend's house. Sorry, guys. I think I'm a little sleepy still. Okay. The Lord said to Moses, if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving his neighbor about something entrusted to him, or if he finds lost property and lies about it, or if he swears falsely, or if he commits any such sin that people may do, when he thus sins and becomes guilty, he must return what he has stolen or taken by extortion, or what he has entrusted to him, or the lost property he found, or whatever it was he swore falsely about. He must make restitution in full, and a fifth of the value of it, and give it all to the owner on the day he presents his guilt offering. And as a penalty he must bring to the priest, that is, to the Lord, his guilt offering, a ram from the flock, one without defect and of the proper value. In this way the priest will make atonement for him before the Lord. He will be forgiven for all these things he did that made him guilty. The burnt offering. The Lord said to Moses, "Give Aaron and his sons this command. These are the regulations for the burnt offering." I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. These are the regulations for the burnt offering. The burnt offering is to remain on the altar, heard throughout the night till morning, and the fire must be kept burning on the altar. The priest shall put on his linen cloths, the linen undergarments next to his body, and shall remove the ashes of the burnt offering that the fire has consumed on the altar, and place them beside the altar. Then he is to take off these clothes and put on others, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a place that is ceremonially clean. The fire on the altar must be kept burning. It must not go out. Every morning the priest is to add firewood and arrange the burnt offering on fire, and burn the fat of the fellowship offerings on it. The offerings must be kept burning on the altar continuously. It must not go out. The grain offering. These are the regulations for the grain offering. Aaron's sons are to bring it before the Lord in front of the altar. The priest is to take a handful of fine flour and oil, together with all incense on the grain offering, and burn the memorial portion on the altar as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Aaron and his sons shall eat the rest of it, but it is to be eaten without yeast in a holy place. These are to eat in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. It must not be baked with yeast. I have given it as their share of the offering. Made to me by as their share of the offerings. Made to me by... I can't see with all this hair. Let's do that. Shall eat the rest of it, but it is not to be eaten without yeast in a holy place. They are to eat in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. It must not be baked with yeast. I have given it as their share of the offerings, made to me by fire, like the sin offering and the guilt offering. It is most holy. Any male descendant of Aaron must eat it. It is his regular share of the offerings, made to the Lord by fire for the generations to come. Whatever touches them will become holy. The Lord also said to Moses, "This is the offering Aaron and his sons are to bring to the Lord on the day he is anointed. A tenth of an ephah of fine flour as a regular grain offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. Prepare it with oil on a griddle, bring it well mixed, and present the grain offering, broken in pieces as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. The son who has succeeded him as anointed priest shall prepare it. It is the Lord's regular share. It is to be burned completely. Every grain offering of a priest shall be burned completely. It is not to be eaten. It must not be eaten. The sin offering. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to Aaron and his sons, these are the regulations for the sin offering. Sin offering is to be slaughtered before the Lord, in the place of the burnt offering is slaughtered. It is most holy. The priest who offer it shall eat it." Sorry, guys. It is to be eaten in a holy place, in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. Whatever touches any of the flesh will become become holy. If any of these blood is spattered on a garment, you must wash it in a holy place. The clay pot the meat is cooked in must be broken, but if it is cooked in a bronze pot, the pot is to be scorned and rinsed with water. Any male in a priest's family will eat it. It is most holy, but any sin offering whose blood is brought onto the tent of meeting to make atonement in the holy place must not be eaten. It must be burned. Leviticus 7, the guilt offering. These are the regulations for the guilt offering, which is most holy. The guilt offering is to be slaughtered in the place where the burnt offering is slaughtered, and its blood is to be sprinkled against the altar on all sides, and its fat shall be offered. The fat tail, and the fat that covers the inner parts, both kidneys with fat on them near the loins, and the covering of the liver, which is removed with kidneys, the priest shall burn them on an altar as an offering made to the Lord by fire. It is a guilt offering. Any male in a priest's family may eat it, but it must be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. The same law applies to both the sin of offering and the guilt offering. These men, or why did I say these men? They belong to the priests who make atonement with them. The priest who offers a burnt offering for anyone may keep a tithe for himself. Every grain offering baked in an oven or cooked in a pan on a griddle belongs to the priest who offers it. And any grain offering mixed with oil or dry, you guys can't see it all. Sorry, guys. Whether mixed with oil or dry belongs equally to all the sons of Aaron, the fellowship offering. These are the regulations of the fellowship offering. A person may present to the Lord. If he offers it as an expression of thankfulness, then along with the thank offering, he is to offer cakes of bread made without yeast and mixed with oil, wafers made without yeast and spread with oil, and cakes of fine flour well kneaded and mixed with oil, along with fellowship offerings. Offering of thanksgiving, he is to present an offering with cakes of bread made with yeast. He is to bring one of each kind as an offering, contribution to the Lord. It belongs to the Lord who sprinkles the blood on the fellowship offering. The meat of his fellowship offering of thanksgiving must be eaten on the day it is offered. He must leave none of it till morning. If, however, his offering is the result of a vow or is a free will offering, the sacrifice shall be eaten on the day he offers it, but anything left over may be eaten on the next day. Any meat of the sacrifice left over till the third day must be burned up. If any meat of the fellowship offering is eaten on the third day, it will not be accepted. It will be credited to the one who offered it, for it is impure. The person who eats of it will be held responsible. Neither touches anything ceremonially unclean must not be eaten. It must be burned up. As for other meat, anyone ceremonially clean may eat it. But if anyone who is unclean eats any meat of the fellowship offering belonging to the Lord, the person must be cut off from his people. If anyone touches something unclean with a human uncleanliness, or an unclean animal, or any unclean, destable thing, and then eats of any of the meat of the fellowship offering belonging to the Lord, that person must be cut off from his people. Eating fat and blood forbidden. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, do not eat any of the fat of the cattle, sheep, or goats. The fat of any animal found dead or torn by wild animals may be used with any other purpose, but you must not eat it. Anyone who eats the fat of an animal from which an offering by fire may be made to the Lord must be cut off from his people. And wherever you live, you must not eat the blood of any bird or animal. If anyone eats blood, that person must be cut off from his people." The priest's share. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, anyone who brings a fellowship offering to the Lord is to bring part of it as his sacrifice to the Lord. With his own hands he is to bring the offering made to the Lord by fire. He is to bring the fat, together with the breast, and wave the breast before the Lord as a wave offering. The priest shall burn the fat on the altar, but the breast belongs to Aaron and his sons. You are to give the right thigh of your fellowship offering to the priest as contribution. The sons of Aaron, who offers the blood and the fat of the fellowship offering, shall have the right thigh as his share. From the fellowship offering of the Israelites, I have taken the breast that he has waved, and the thigh that is presented and given to Aaron, the priest, and his sons, as their regular share from the Israelites. This is the portion of the offering made to the Lord by fire. They were allotted to Aaron and his sons on the day they were presented to serve the Lord as priests. On the day they were anointed, the Lord commanded them that the Israelites give this to them as their regular share for the generations to come. These, then, are the regulations for the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, the guilt offering, the ordination offering, and the fellowship offering, which the Lord gave Moses on Mount Sinai on the day he commanded the Israelites to bring their offerings to the Lord in the deserts of Sinai. Wow, that was a long reading, I'm not going to lie. I told y'all that was going to be slow. Sorry, guys. Hopefully this isn't just instructions. It doesn't look like it. Wow, it looks like a bunch of story. Awesome. Oh. More regulations. It's alright. Leviticus, we're a third of the way through, right? Yeah. Or wait. Fourth. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we're reading Leviticus 8 through 10. Be there. See you guys, and bye.